All right, good morning. This is Mary back at Pilates again. In the last 2 weeks, we've been concentrating on loosening up a lot of the joints that stiffen up when we sit too much, when we just work on computers too much or on different devices. And we'll continue to do that because the classes I offer are based on loosening up all of those joints. Just a tiny bit of theory here. What's at the basis of Pilates, it was invented by Joseph Pilates during the war when he saw a lot of soldiers coming back incapacitated. They were in wheelchairs and their bodies were wasting. So he developed a program to build very strong core and upper body, and it gave them strength, energy, and well, it made me feel much more useful. But essentially, you've got the spine that runs from top to bottom. So if you think about having the spine and then having the shoulders intersect across that at this point, and then the hips intersecting there. So these come off of the spine area and the hips do. So a lot of the work we do in Pilates is to loosen a lot around those shoulders and as it connects into the spine. The same with the hip area, and then everything in between that joins those. So there we are for the theory. This morning you'll be using either a ball, a small ball if you've got one, or in lieu a roll of toilet paper. That is quite appropriate to the situation. And so just set those aside for now, and let's just get loosening up. So standing feet hip width apart, let's just give a gentle roll to those shoulders and see how they feel this morning. So getting those forward positions in, as always, we're going front, we're going up, we're going back, and we're going down. Let's take that slowly. Let's really pay attention to that. Don't force anything beyond the point of slight discomfort. You don't want to go into pain zone. It doesn't pay off. And rolling the other way. And this is another tidbit that I've picked up over time. For any move, let me just let this go because I don't seem to be able to roll and talk at the same time. With any move, if you think about taking it to the mat, so for example, if we're down on the floor and we're bringing the knee up toward the chest, if you were to bring it to the max and then ease off of it, because when we bring things to the very max, quite often the rest of the body tightens around it, and it really won't let you go as far as if you just dialed it back a little bit and then gradually went into it. So you'll make more progress and the body won't react to such an allergic fashion. All right, let's step a little bit wider. Let's work a little bit more at loosening the front of that body. Let's reach over here, and then elbow goes back to the back wall, back and forth. So you're really reaching, you're getting a nice little stretch through here, and that elbow is pressing back, so you're opening through the front of the shoulder. Let's keep doing that. Bending your knees to allow you to reach a little bit and pulling back. 4 more. And breathing. I like to breathe out with the difficult and in with the easier, whichever one that is. Just breathe. I think this is our last one. There we go. Bring that back and put it down. Let's reach over to the other side. Reaching and pulling. Reach and pull. Keep doing this, really thinking about extending those fingertips long as you go out, elbow back toward the wall as you bring it back. And 3 more. 2. Last one here. And bring that back and shake it out. Let's just let those arms drift up toward the ceiling and down again. Maybe swaying a little bit from side to side as you do it. Good. So speaking of swaying, let's take the arms down, bend the knees, scoop down, and bring the arms up through the center and over to the other side. You may be lifting your heel here to allow a little bit more movement and a little bit more reach as you just sway. See if you can get the body to loosen with this one. Don't worry too much about your posture. Don't worry too much about straight arms. Just get a good flow going, get a little bit of movement through those knees, little bit of hinging in the hips so that they'll warm up for what we're going to do next. And do this one more time in each direction. Here we go. And last one, and down. All right, let's just flip-flop from side to side, letting the arms flop. Try not to twist at the base of the spine. So any twisting I'm doing, I'm trying to keep it up here, mostly in the rib cage and upper back. And one more time. All right, I think that's fairly loosened up in there. Let's do feet. And yeah, so I'm going to, actually I'm going to stand sideways so you can see me. One foot is somewhat behind the other. Doesn't matter precisely, just so long as you maintain your balance. And you're going to lift that back foot slowly and roll it up onto the hinge or the joint of the toes. So take a moment, holding that heel up, look down, don't fall, look down, and see how much of a bend you're actually able to get in the base of that toe. And align your foot so it's straight. So if the foot has started to move out sideways, it's because your body's trying to cheat you and trying to avoid doing some work at the base of the big toe. This is one where you can feel a little bit of pressure and some discomfort without doing any damage to yourself. And roll that foot back, pressing the heel into the floor. Let's do that a couple more times. Rolling up, nice bend in the base of the toes. And press that heel down. And let's bring it up again. And bring it down. Now let's take that same foot. You might find it easier to hang on to a wall for a little bit of support here. But that same foot we were working, turn the foot the other way. So the instep is getting a nice stretch across the top as you just put a little bit of pressure on it. It's a total opposite of the last move we did, and it'll promote more mobility in your foot. And if it's cramping, let it go. All right, shake that out. Let's go to the other leg. Foot slightly behind, and then you're going to curl up. Your body's staying straight here. Don't worry too much about it, but just make sure you're not leaning over. And let's bring that up again, trying to articulate through that whole foot. As I said, each foot has 26 bones, 33 muscles, and I think 50-some ligaments. They comprise a large proportion of the components of the body, of the bones and muscles. And bring that down. And let's roll it slowly up again, trying to use some of those 33 muscles. And bring that down. And then put your foot the other way so that your instep is facing the floor or somewhat, and get a nice stretch across the top of the instep. And release that and shake it out. Good. All right. We're going to move into a few squats. So we're going to do several types. So first, your feet are going to be fairly wide. And just make sure, take a look down, make sure your knees are going in the same direction as your toes. Otherwise, you could hurt your knees. So get in this position and then just bring your body straight down. We want to avoid leaning forward. So we're trying to keep, again, the shoulders over the hips. Now, when you're down here, the body is going to want to cave your legs forward because easier. So let's widen them and then even consciously think about pressing those knees back a little bit. Physically, they might just go back a millimeter or two, but you'll notice the difference in your inner thigh muscles. All right, let's bring that up. Let's go down again. Bring the body straight down. Bring the knees back. And up. Let's do that one more time. Let's bring it down, knees back, and come on up. All right, your legs can go a little bit wider if you like. Just bring your weight over to one side. This other leg is long, and then bring that arm up and straight. So you're looking for a straight line here from your fingertips on along your body through to your foot. You might carry your weight on your other knee like this or like this, whatever feels good. Let's come out of that. Let's go to the other side. Nice long stretch. You should really feel it all the way up through here. Let's add a little bit more flow to this, going from side to side, and repeat. And again, when you get in this position and you're reaching over, see what that front knee is doing. Mine wants to cave in forward a little bit because it's a little bit on the lazy side. Open it up and bring it back. Again, open up that knee, bring it back. Let's do 2 more times on each side. Always taking a moment to get that nice position once you get into it. And let's come out of that. We can walk the feet back to center. Let's release one knee and the other. Get some nice relaxing movement happening through the pelvis. Mini vacation. Grab them when you can. All right, so now I'd like you to reach for either your ball or your roll of toilet paper or whatever else you've decided you're going to use. And I'll stand front ways first so you can see how I'm positioning it. It's going between the thighs, just above the knees. So right here, so that ultimately your feet are roughly still hip width apart. There, in other words, if you were to locate your hip bones, your legs are just kind of falling down from there. Yeah, it might be different depending on what you're using, but roughly this is it. And you've got a little bit of pressure on the ball. So now I'm going to stand sideways so you can see. Just watch my move maybe first. We're going to do a squat, and I'm going to reach forward. I'm trying to keep my back straight, so the back isn't curving over, certainly not arching, and then coming back. So join me as we go down, arms go forward. When you're down here, try to put your bum a little bit further back. It'll allow you to go lower, and then come on up. And repeat. And up. Let's do several more of these as we think about pressing the ball on the way down. So press into that ball a little bit. Not for dear life, but just enough to activate the muscles on the inner thigh. And let's do 4 more. Reaching that bum back, feeling the weight in the heels of your feet. Pressing up through it with equal weight on each foot. Last time, here we go. And come on out of that. All right, you can remove that ball from there, but do hang on to it. Or your roll of toilet paper. Okay, let's find a lunge position. So one foot's forward, this one's back. The heel is lifted, and your body is back here in line with, or less in line with the knee. So your shoulders are over your hips are over the knee. Take it a little bit lower if you're comfortable in doing that. If you're finding trouble keeping your balance, just go wider. All right, so hold this position and let's just rotate the arms up. One arm goes up and the other one does. Side to side. Try to keep your core nice and straight as you do this. So imagine if you were viewing yourself doing this, and what you're seeing are quite simply the arms windmilling from one side to the other with the core nice and straight and unmoving. Let's get the ball up 2 more times. And again. And then come out of that and shake it out. Drop one knee and the other. Okay, let's put the other foot forward this time. Other leg goes back. If you find you've found the same side again, take a moment to readjust. So get your position first. You're nice, good posture here, nice and steady. You're going to hold the ball between your hands. And then you're going to rotate over to one side. The hips stay forward. You're moving through the rib cage and the sternum. And bring it back to center, over to the other side. When you're bringing it over, you're holding it here for maybe the count of 4, back to center. Over to the first side. Back to center. See if you can get that squat, that lunge to go a little bit lower. Over to the first side. And back. One more time in each direction. Here. And let's come out of that and shake it out. All right. Let's see if we can do, you can put your ball aside for now. Mine went to the other side of the dining room. Do relax for a moment, drop one knee and the other. And let's do a little bit of balance work. You can always hold on to the wall, either with a full hand or one finger, whatever it takes to inspire confidence. And you're going to first shift the weight to one side, and the side that's holding you, as always, that knee should be soft. So just think of a micro bend in it. And this hip is nicely tucked in. We're not letting it laze out to the side. So all of these muscles are working to keep this strong. And then unweight the other foot. So just take the weight off of the floor. Down. All right, let's do that again. Only this time we're going to lift the knee a little bit higher. Maybe to tabletop if you're able to do that. And hold. Bring it back. All right, prepare yourself for the last time on this side. Your supporting side is nice and strong as you come up to tabletop, and then further challenge yourself by introducing a little bit of movement. And let's let that go and drop one knee and the other. Okay, let's go back to the other side. The knee is soft, the bum muscles are nice and strong, and the muscles along the side are keeping you nice and straight here. And then when you're ready, just take the weight off the other foot. Back down. Okay, this time we're going to take the weight off, and we're going to take it up to tabletop. You'll find it easier to do this if you do keep the rest of your body in alignment, the shoulders over the hips. And bring that down. Sometimes it takes a little bit of mind over matter to accomplish that. Soften the knee, bum is nice and strong. We're going to bring it up to tabletop this time, and we're going to introduce some movement. And come on down. Little tip here. Balance is very important, as you've heard me say before, and especially as we go forward in years. It's something you can do off and on all day. So when you're standing at the countertop doing something, you can shift your weight and just let that foot drift off the floor. Or if you actually do go into a store and you're waiting in line, use that time to actually work on this. It all adds up, and it makes a big difference to our balance. Another little tip that can be incorporated during the day is we talked a lot about in these classes keeping the front of the body, the chest nice and open. So open simply means open. It means shoulders are not scrunched up to the ears, so they're down in their normal position. And the shoulder blades are just slightly close together. That brings the chest nice and open. The opposite of that is to have the shoulders kind of roll in, and see how my hands are hanging here. So the next time you go walking, think about actually having your hands not with the backs of your hands towards the direction you're walking in, but sideways. So if you really want to look goofy, you can actually open up the arms and look at the difference that makes to the open chest and the posture. This versus this, which isn't bad, versus this, which is not good. So a little something you can incorporate into your day-to-day life. All right, so let's go to the back of the mat. We're going to do some spinal roll downs, and then eventually we'll end up on the floor. So here you're going to bring your arms up, straight, and lift your heels from the floor. And as your heels come down, your arms also come down. You soften your knees, you tuck that chin in, and then you slowly start a roll down. Trying to think of moving the spine one vertebrae at a time as you slowly release it. Kind of like the links on a chain, one at a time as you go down. When you get down to whatever your comfortable position is, you can take a deep breath in. And as you release that breath, build the spine up. Very slowly. The shoulders back into position, and then the chin comes up. All right, let's take that up again. Arms are up, heels are lifted. And slowly release. Knees go soft. Bent, tuck your chin, and slowly roll. So we bend the knees because this isn't a hamstring stretch. If it were a hamstring stretch, your legs would be straight and you would be reaching toward the floor. And that might or might not feel good, but it's not the objective of the exercise. The objective of the exercise is to get the back as rounded as you can and to concentrate on the spine. So let's take a breath in and release that as we rebuild. Let's do that one more time. Try to keep the arms straight. Even if they don't go up as high, straighter is more important. I can come here, you might find you're here. And let's bring those down. And slowly roll. This time, if it feels good for you, you can hang out here a little bit. So just let the arms hang from their sockets. Maybe do a little yes or no with your head to release any tension in your neck. And then when you're ready, you can make your way down to the mat. All right. You'll want to make sure you've got your ball, or apparently now I'll be using toilet paper roll, handy. So we'll be using it in a little bit for some bridges. All right. So let's do our cats and cows because they're a staple of this Pilates diet here. So your hands are on the floor, your fingers are spread, and your hands are under your shoulders, and your hips are in line here over the knees. So just take a breath out. As you go up into your cat, your head can either just hang or gently back towards your thighs. You're pressing that pelvis forward or the bum forward so that you're getting a better rounding at the base of that spine. Pressing through the hands so your shoulder blades are nice and wide across your back. And then release that as you kind of slump into the cow. You might have a slight arch in your back, not too much. Mostly you're getting your shoulder blades closer together. And let's press through the hands again, the cat. And flowing back into cow. So let's get a flow working for this, going from one to the other at your pace. Getting some nice release through the spine, top of the pelvis, shoulders. Breathing out with your cat, with your cow. So when you're coming up into your cat, your bum is pressed forward. When you're going into your cow, you can actually think about your bum reaching back, kind of opening up through the pelvic floor, if you will. A couple more. Here's my last sequence. All right, and give that a little bit of a shake. It's a gentle little tail wag there. It should feel good. Take it up into your cat and come back, holding that rounded spine back into or toward a nice curve here. Nice shell stretch. You're staying rounded because you still want to get some release through that spine. So whether you're here or back here, you're just working to your capacity, which is fine. I'll do it from this position. Walk your hands over to the left-hand side. So the right fingertips might be able to walk forward another, I don't know, a few millimeters. And your body isn't moving over, though. You're keeping it right here centered so that you're getting your stretch along the right-hand side. Let's take a deep breath into those ribs. Really deep. Here we go. Feel that rib cage expand? Let's do it again. All right, hands walk back to center. I'm just going to go into my full shell stretch here. And then walk them over to the other side. So same thing here. This time, the left fingertips may reach further away from you. You're anchoring your left cheek on your left heel to make sure it's not lifting and that you're not rolling over to the side. 2 deep breaths here. And again. This allows us to get a nice stretch through the intercostal muscles, the little muscles between all the ribs. And walk back to center and come out of that. All right. Let's take it onto our backs. So you're going to be sitting here with, we're going to do a bit of ab work. So you might want to have your pillow or towel under your head for a little cushioning. And let's bring it back. All right, so the feet are planted. Actually, just bear with me a moment. Keep that position. I am going to hit the ball, and you might want to have your ball handy too. I want to show you something. All right, so what I'm going to show you can still work with the toilet paper roll or something. It's just not quite the same. All right, so let's just get into some easing into some abdominal and core work here. So the feet are planted and one leg goes long and low. It's not touching the floor, and the opposite arm comes up overhead. So that the hand is placed such that the thumb will be pointed toward the floor. Bring those back and go to the other side. Opposite arm, opposite leg, reach long. The core stays nice and strong in the center. So as you move from one side to the other, you're keeping your back your spine in a neutral position. So this is staying nice and strong. Your back isn't rolling into the floor, and nor is it arching. You're using your abdominal muscles to keep that spine in that nice position. Side to side, let's keep it going. Nice and slow. Hold it for a beat when you've got it in position, and then bring it back. side to side. If you find it is a little hard on your lower back, don't put your leg down as low. Maybe keep it up here. And only bring your arm back as far as you can with keeping the arms straight. 2 more times each side. This whole time you're thinking of pulling that belly button toward the spine. Last time here, coming up. Everything's nice and slow and deliberate and purposeful. And let's bring that back and let's give the lower back a bit of a break. Bring your knees in toward your chest. You can roll around a bit if that feels good. All right, so if you've got your ball, I'd like you to, well, you can come down, kind of bridge up, I guess, and put the ball at the base of your spine, top of the hips, so it's the sacrum. It's that part that feels like it's a triangular bone. So that's the most secure spot to hold you in that way. You may or may not have your cushion at this point, depending on what you like. All right, so just see how that feels, because we're going to put it to the test. So you're going to bring one leg up to tabletop, and then bring the second one up to tabletop. I think I just heard a couple of you fall off. Bring the first leg back and the second leg back. Your hands are on the floor, the palms would be facing the ceiling to give you a nice open chest. Let's do that again. One leg to tabletop and the other one. Hold that. First leg comes down, second leg comes down. Let's repeat that. And if this is not where your body is at today, then, so those of you who want to continue doing that, continue doing that. The others could just try, just do one leg, tabletop, bring it down. Bring the other one up to tabletop and bring it down. If you're doing the more advanced version, this is what you're doing. Both legs are up at any given time, really challenging your position on that ball. So your abs are working extra hard here. They're correcting the whole time because your body wants to fall off. So many little different muscles are working hard to stabilize you on the ball. Let's do that 2 more times. And last time, here we go. All right, and then you can very carefully roll sideways and remove the ball, but don't get rid of it. So whether you're using a ball or a toilet paper roll, you're going to try to position it between your shoulder blades so that you can lie on it. So find that spot. It may take a while. It may be hard to get it there yourself. You've got a helper, see if they can help you position it. So this is where you'll want to be, and almost as soon as you're there, you'll want to protect your neck by holding the weight of your head in your hands. So what I'm going to do here, my feet are planted, and my bum is just positioned down to keep my, my spine in a neutral position. I'm going to do an ab prep exercise. We've done this on the floor before. Doing it on the ball is easier and harder. So I'll explain as we go. So take a breath in, nod the chin, and then just come on up. And back. Don't go any further than keeping everything in alignment here. Let's do that again. So it's easier because the range isn't as great as when we're doing it from the floor position. But we do continue to hold the weight of the head in our hands. So we're not pulling on the head. Trying to still think about lifting with the chest. And it's harder because we're going to come up and give it that last 2 millimeters effort as if you're trying to get that lower rib even closer to that hip bone and bring it back. Let's do it that way again, bringing it up going for the extra little bit on the end to really use those lower abdominal muscles and come back. 4 more. And breathe out with the hard. Easy. 2 more. And come out of that. You can stay on the ball. This time we're going to do a little bit of relaxation on the ball or a little bit of massage. So just think about rolling that ball a little bit from one shoulder blade to the other. What we're aiming to feel is a little bit of release of tension in the tissues between the shoulder blades. So just use the moment to treat yourself. All right, last one. And then carefully roll over to the side and remove the ball. Keep it hanging. I think we're going to use it in a moment, actually. So we're going to move into some bridging. So for bridges, usually we don't want to keep the towel under our head. It doesn't put us in the right position for the neck. All right, so for bridges, today we're going to plant our feet. And we're going to start by doing kind of a little massage at the base of the spine. We'll do this by rolling the lower back toward the floor so that we're in an imprint position, and then release it back to normal. We're not moving it up into an arch. We're just coming back to neutral spine, and roll that lower back toward the floor again, and release. As much as you can as you continue to do this, see if you can use the ab muscles mainly, lower back down. Your legs are going to want to work quite a bit, especially around the hip flexors here, but just see if you can give them a bit of a talking to. Tell them they're not on duty, and see if you can get the abs. And one last one here, and come back to neutral spine. So this time we're going to get up to our bridge by using that same movement. So we're rocking the lower back in, and then we continue to move on through as we press through the heels, come up into a bridge position. I'd like you to do a little check here to make sure your ribs haven't kind of popped up toward the ceiling. Just tuck that lower rib down, making sure you're carrying the weight nicely on your shoulders so your neck isn't being damaged. And your knees are pointed toward the opposite wall, and come on down. So that's going to be the bridge motion. If you'll grab your toilet paper or your ball, and before starting up, put it between the knees in the same location we did a while ago. Sorry, just above the knee joint, I find works best. And give it a tiny squeeze when we move up. So we're going to roll into our bridge, squeezing the ball as we come up, and the knees go long. Tuck in that lower rib, and then slowly roll down, engaging one part of the spine, and then the next until you're back in your neutral spine. Let's do that again. Rolling through, bring it up. Press through the heels a little bit to get your position really nice here, and roll back. Let's continue doing a few of these, remembering to press on the ball kind of about a 30% effort as you're coming up. It'll just help keep your knees in the right position. And come on down. And repeat, we're going to do 3 more. If you've had enough, I won't know, so you can just give it up and relax in whatever position works for you. So really thinking about all your positioning, knees go long, lower rib tucked in. Let's do it one last time. Everything perfected. Here we go, squeezing the ball to get up there. The glutes are pressing strong to get us up as high as our own body will let us. But the lower rib is tucked under so that we're not popping that rib cage or arching the spine. And roll it down and take that ball. I think you're probably feeling that because I know I am. So just relax in whatever position you need. If it's your lower back that needs a bit of relief, you'll want to bring your knees in. If you find your hamstrings have gotten a little stressed during that exercise and you might like to just go long and maybe flex your feet, arms could go overhead. And come out of that. All right, let's do a bit of a different exercise here. We're going to, well, it's a stretch, really. So you're going to bring your feet, soles of your feet somewhat together and open your knees up into what we call the butterfly position. So this just should be a relax. You're looking for a stretch of the muscles on the inner thigh because we did work them in that last one. And you might find it feels good to rock a little bit here side to side. So while your legs are in this position, you can bring your arms up, and if it's comfortable for you, bring them into what we call cactus position. So I don't know if you can see, I've got my arms sort of in a T position here, and I'm bringing them down. If it isn't quite comfortable for you, you can maybe just bring your arms out straight to the side. But if your arms can handle that cactus position, do that. And you would try to do this without arching the lower back. Mine does a little bit, but I'll try to just keep it down. And relax here through the lower body. Roll a little bit from side to side. Now you can keep your feet here if you're wanting to, or you can bring them back together. I'm going to continue to go for a little bit more stretch. And your arms, you're going to, if they're in the cactus position, you're just going to try to raise those arms with them still skimming along the floor. Your body's going to resist, probably more one side than the other. Don't push into anything that's painful and just bring them back to that start position. Let's glide across the floor again with the fingertips going toward the overhead position and bring them back. Let's do one last time. And bring that back. And come out of that. You can bring the legs back. Let's bring the feet to the width of the mat. And drop the knees from one side to the other. You can choose here if you want to use it as an ongoing nice long stretch for the side of that hip, or if you get more relief, just sort of slowly going from side to side. I'm going to get some nice stretch along one side, really taking the time to let that stretch occur. And I'm going to move to the other side. And let's come out of that. All right, let's move over to the side and do a little bit more hip work. So we're going to lie on their side. Use your pillow or your towel for cushioning around the head. You're going to come down, your knees are bent, and your gaze is going to be straight forward. Sometimes if our gaze is down, it brings us in a bit of not quite proper position. So we're going to move into the clamshells. We've done this before, where the heels or the feet stay together and we just open up the top leg. And we're only opening as far as we can without getting that rolling back happening. So think about your hip down here, staying in position. If you feel it rock, you've probably gone too far, because the objective of the exercise is to get some distance between this leg and the other one. And if you're rolling, It's another one of those cheats. It's not really working in the areas we want to work at. So tuck in your abdominals, pulling your belly button towards your spine as you open and close. So it's all done very slowly. So maybe everybody could just slow it down a notch as you open and close. If you want a little bit more work for your core here, you can think about lifting your ribs off of the floor. So usually when we do this, our side of our ribs are being supported on the floor as we continue to do our clamshells. But you can get a little bit more work out of the core muscles and you can better align your spine if you just think about pulling those ribs away from the floor and staying in the straight line. This isn't necessary, it's an add-on if you want an add-on. Let's do 5 more clamshells. Remember, the belly button is pulled in toward the spine. Keeping your core nice and strong. You might even want to just put a hand there and make sure nothing's wiggling or jiggling or moving in or out. Let's do 2 more. And last one here. And you get to have a bit of a break, drop that knee over the other one and relax that hip. It's got a little bit more work to do. All right, let's take that same leg out long. We're going to just raise it and lower it. Actually, everybody stop just for a second. Hold that leg in the air. Bring the heel back a little bit. And let's see if we can work from this position. So lift and lower. So we're using the muscles to do this. If we start moving fast, we might be using just momentum to do it. And we might also be kind of hitching the hip or the waist. We don't want that. We want all of the move to come right here from this hip joint because that's what we want to strengthen. Lift and lower. And one more like this. Maybe just bring it down for a second. We're going to expect a little bit more work out of it now as we bring it out straight again. This time the toes will be pointed toward the ceiling. Make sure the foot hasn't drifted forward. So bring it in this, actually it's aligned with your body position. And bring it up and down. Toes are pointing toward the ceiling. We're getting a little different positioning here in the hip joint so that we're working all angles. Let's do one more here. The toes pointed up. Bring your leg here and then point your toes toward the floor. Heel would be toward the ceiling as you lift and lower with the leg in this position. And 4 more like this. And last one, and let's bring that in and relax. It's working hard, I know. All right, we're just going to expect a little tiny bit more of this leg. Just bring it straight again, and let's move into some small controlled circles. Small and slow, and then in the other direction. And let's call it. That leg's done enough. Give it a little massage as a reward. And let's take the move over to the other side so that bodies are developed a little bit more equally from side to side. And come on down, the knees are bent. Hand can be on the floor, or you might just want to feel this muscle work right back here. That's the one that's mostly engaged. And when you're ready, start into your clamshell and back. Points to remember here. You're pulling your belly button in a little bit towards your spine. Your abs are nice and engaged at about a 30% effort, 40% effort to keep your body nice and stable so that the move is just coming from that hip joint. Opening and closing, nice and slow. If you want to move your ribs a little bit away from the floor, that'll work that side as well. Making sure it's a nice slow opening and a nice slow closing. The return is as important as the opening as far as the speed goes. So if you're going slow in your return, you're actually using gravity, or you're fighting against gravity, which would mean the muscles would work in a bit of a different way, but in an important way as well. Let's do 3 more. 2. And last one here. And relax. You'll probably find one side is stronger than the other. Just the way it is. All right, the leg goes long. Bring the heel back a little bit and then lift and lower. So the foot's more or less parallel with the floor, but try not to carry any tension in the foot. It'll just add extra tension to the leg and it doesn't need it. It's not enough. One more time, like this. And bring it down. Just rest for a second. And bring the leg up long. Turn the toes toward the ceiling and lift and lower the leg here. Slow, conscious lift and conscious lowering. Last time in this position. Let's hold the leg off the floor, but turn the toes toward the floor, heels to the ceiling, and lift and lower. If your leg is starting to drift forward, bring it back in line with your body. So you'll know if it's in line properly if you've got a little bit of an opening here at the front of the hip. And last one, coming up here, and bring it down for a rest. All right, we're going to move into our last piece of hip work. So the leg goes out long again, and you're going to move into your small controlled circles. Now always remember to get the back part of that circle. It's easier for the leg to do a lot of stuff in the front position, and it resists doing the stuff at the back. Very important, so we're going to do it. And then let's turn that circle in the opposite direction. And one last little circle coming up now. And done. And relax and massage. All right. Something that we haven't introduced into the classes yet, and I think we're in a good position to do that. We haven't done a lot for the upper body, and that certainly is a part that weakens over time, and so we need to pay a little bit of attention to that. So we're going to move into a low plank today, but it's modified. It'll be assisted for you. So actually, if you come over, start on your hands and knees first, and then put your forearms down on the floor. They're going to be shoulder width apart. Your hands will be planted sideways, and then you can take your knees back. If you're going into a full low plank, you're going to tuck your toes under, and you're going to lift into a low plank. Others may choose to bring the knees down from this position and support yourself. Whichever one you're doing, you're pressing strongly through the forearms so that you're not sinking into your shoulder blades. So pressing away. If you've got a full lower plank, you're pressing through those lower arms. And you're making sure the bum isn't kind of tented up. You're going to bring it in line with your body so that you feel a little bit of an opening at the top of the thighs and come out of that. You can maybe put your feet down for a moment, maybe windshield wiper your knees from side to side to relieve any tension you might have built up in the lower back. All right, let's come back and do that again. So you choose which version you want. You can have your knees down and pressing through, or you can be up into full low plank. It's fairly demanding, so do whichever one works best for you. So you might be here pressing through the forearms, thinking about pressing away through the elbows, keeping the shoulder blades nice and wide on the back. And let's come on down and release that. So I just wanted to introduce that one today, and we'll be doing a little bit of upper body going forward. It might be on the mat. It's easier to do on the wall. So if you want to think ahead to that, if you're doing your workout, you might want to have a wall handy. It could work for you. All right, so let's be gentle and kind to the body, and let's do some nice stretching and some releases here. So come onto your backs, and let's stretch out the glutes from the bridges we did and from some of the hip work we did. So you're going to bring one ankle over one knee into the pretzel position. Think about pushing your knee a little bit further away from you. And then if you want more of a stretch in this glute, you can think about lifting this lower leg. Then explore a little bit here, maybe from one side to the other, so that you feel where you get your ideal stretch through those bum muscles. And hold it. Hold it for another moment. And let's release that and change sides. Knee is supporting the ankle, pushing that knee away from you a little tiny bit so you're opening up through the hip joint. And then bring that lower leg up if you want. Find your ideal stretch position and hold it. Continue to hold. And release that. Maybe shake out the legs if that feels good. You can plant one foot and then bring the other leg more or less straight up, holding on to the back of the thigh. We're just going to do a hamstring stretch here. So you can flex the foot. In other words, bring the toes towards your nose. Feel that nice stretch along the back and release that. Maybe you can bring bend the knee and bring the leg down. Stretching up again, flexing the toes and release. And one more time here, let's bring it up, flex the foot and release. All right, let's move to the other side. Holding on to the back of that thigh, and then the leg can go straight-ish and point, or flex, sorry, and release. We don't continue to hold the stretch for very long because it can really irritate the nerves. This is it's called a nerve flossing. It's what happens when you flex. Nerve flossing is good, but we do it in moderation. Let's do this last one. And release and come out of that. All right. We're going to, I think we'll do our next stretches standing, so take your time and come up into standing position. Just anything that needs to be adjusted. All right, You're going to put your hands in a prayer position. So they might be, at about sternum height here. And then bring them lower, just to the point that's a little bit of a stretch for you around the wrists and the back of the wrists, but not to be in pain. And then from this position, you're going to push over to one side. You'll feel it a lot in through here, maybe a little through here, and then bring it to center and push the hands over to the other side. To center. So this is another type of nerve flossing. And for those of us, again, who over to the other side, have been doing quite a bit of computer work lately, it's really good for that part of the anatomy. Let's do one more time each side. Let's press over to this side. Probably not a large move. And only within your comfort zone. Don't be aggressive with these kinds of moves because it won't pay off. And bring that back, shake it out. Put the hand, one hand out, and pressing the hand back. Pressing through the meaty part of the hand here. You're looking to get a stretch along through here. And release. And let's do the other side. And release. Open the hands wide and close them. Open them wide. Bring the four fingers together and open up the thumbs and see if you can get sort of an L position there. So see if you can just move that thumb a little bit further away to help that hand stretch a little bit. And release that. Okay, one last stretch here. It's going to be for the fascia around the neck. You're going to see if you can locate skin on the front of your sternum. You might have to do it through your shirt, but the objective is to put one hand over the other and you're trying to pull down on that skin that's there. And so maintaining that pull, you're going to lift or turn your head over to one side, so over toward one shoulder, and then up toward the ceiling. So you're looking for a nice stretch along that other side of the neck, releasing the fascia on that side. You can experiment with this too, maybe tilt a little bit in one direction, all very gently. Tilt in another direction, see where you get that ideal stretch. And release that back to center. And then continuing to pull down on the skin over here. Let's take it over to the other side. So bring your head over toward one shoulder. Enjoy that for a moment, and then take it up toward the ceiling. And hold it a moment. And bring head back to center. You can release that. Take a moment just to drop the chin forward. And back. Let's take the arms out to the side, looking like a tree. Fingers are spread very wide. And then bring your elbows into the side and then drop your chin as well. This position for a moment. And release that and shake it out. Give your shoulders a shake. Get some movement happening through the hips. Maybe flop side to side like we did earlier to release any last tension that's hanging in there. And we're ready for our 3 deep breaths to conclude the class. So next week, I'm going to be running through the top 10 exercises for active aging. So a lot of them we do in this class, but I'm going to do it as a sequence, so it might be helpful for you to just draw on over time. You don't need any, well, I was going to say you don't need any particular props, but perhaps you could bring a chair. If you've got a chair handy, next week we will use a chair along with going through those 10 exercises. All right, so everybody remember the deep breaths. We want to breathe in deeply enough to really get some movement through that rib cage. So let's go, dig deep. Pressing out, 2 more. And last one, here we go. Good, I hope you enjoyed that. And that in fact you enjoy the rest of the day. It'll be a good day to get some cardio and lovely sun out there. So thanks for joining me.